Hi everybody, welcome to episode 18 of the Natural Health and Astrology series with me, Annabelle Fraser and Laurie Barnes. We are going to be talking today about and introduce the theme for this week's episode.
Hello, I'm Laurie Barnes. I'm an astrologer and a psychotherapist, and I mix up astrology with positive mindset work. Today, we're talking about the full moon in Libra that's coming up on Wednesday. So it's Wednesday for the US and it's Wednesday for us here in Europe. We're in Italy. The exact time is 4:57 in Rome. So, around 5 o'clock Wednesday evening. And then if you're in the US on the West Coast, it'll be in the morning around 8 o'clock in the morning, and East Coast, it'll be around 11 in the morning. So I'll just jump into it. We have some
tell us what's going on.
Very, very interesting full moon. And it's the Libra, it's the Aries full moon, and the sun is in Libra. And so it brings in these two signs, which for me, it always brings up the two sides of the same coin, you could say, of selfishness and selflessness. So those are the two extreme ends. And we all fall somewhere on that continuum, the middle being in balance. And then the closer we get to the extremes, the more imbalanced we are. And we can be, one way in a particular relationship and another way in a different type of relationship. For example, if you have a romantic partnership, you may find that you're more selfless, and then maybe at work you are more selfish. And I don't want to make it sound like it's a negative thing. Sometimes we really need to be self-focused, and sometimes we really need to be other-focused. It's just that when you get to those extreme ends, then it's usually not very healthy or positive. And so that is very much the energy of Aries and Libra. And since this is an Aries full moon, those are the main energies that we can expect to be thinking about at this full moon, and would be good to focus on for this full moon. 6 months ago, we talked about the Libra full moon. So we've come 180 degrees. And I'm sure if we looked back 6 months to what we were talking about, we would have been talking about the same thing: selfishness and wait, I said that wrong.
Selfishness and selflessness.
Yes. But kind of from the opposite perspective of Libra being maybe sometimes too selfless. And that's why in this week's episode, or this month's episode for the full moon, we're talking about finding your assertive voice, because Aries is about assertion. And if you take assertion too far, it becomes aggression. So, we don't want to go too far and be aggressive. We want to find our assertive voice, and we want to find it in a healthy and positive way. That's the most important message I have. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today, but I want to keep bringing it back to finding your assertive voice and in a healthy way, because I certainly don't want this video to come across as, you're going to go out there and be like, we're going to do it my way. It has to be this way, because that's obviously not going to work. So that brings in empowerment. This is when empowerment becomes a very important part of this full moon. I believe that when you empower others, you empower yourself, and everyone wins. So that would be one way to approach this. Is it's going to sound a little bit opposite, but by you can assert yourself proactively by empowering what is around you. Usually it's people. I suppose you could empower your pets, but we're focusing on humans. And when you empower them, it tends to give you the opportunity to also get your own needs met. So I think that's probably my best advice for finding your assertive voice. It's not to go out and be super selfish or self-focused, although those are parts of Aries, and these are areas to move into. with the consideration of empowerment. Like how do you do that? Start by empowering others, because when others feel like they're respected and like you understand them, then they tend to be very open to hearing what you have to say. And then you find out how to get what you need, but also other people can get what they need at the same time. So that's kind of what I mean. And so, finding your assertive voice is really important. And I know there's a lot of people who feel quite regularly that they can't say what they need to say, or like the Libra, the whole idea of pacifying, it's an Aries full moon, but we're looking at it from the opposite, which is Libra, and Libra does tend to people please and put themselves last. And so what the Aries,
we talked about that in the last episode, didn't we?
Yes, we did, because that would have been the Libra new moon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is the opposite, and you can see I'm being very careful with what I say, because Aries can easily be taken too far and can easily go super aggressive and super selfish. And so it's like, we are saying to go in that direction, find that assertive voice, and to do it in a way where it doesn't hurt anyone else, and where it doesn't undermine anyone else. And frankly, that doesn't really work in the long run. Like, it can sometimes work in the short term, being bossy, being really aggressive, and people are like, okay, just, whatever you want. But that doesn't work in the long run. It really, it's a short-term gain, but a long-term loss. And so that's kind of the way to think about this energy is think about how to assert your voice and do it in a way that's not going to hurt you in the long run. You don't want to do something where now someone is, waiting to get back at you, you could say, down the road. When you empower others, people want to help you. They put wind in your sail. They support you, and then everybody moves forward at the same time.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is a full moon, which means this is a time of being full of bringing things to fruition, and it's also a time of releasing. So this, and we just had another planetary energetic shift happen, and it's tied into this full moon because it's happening at the same time. Many of you have already heard of Mercury retrograde. So that's what has happened, is that Mercury has gone direct, and that just happened on Monday, the 18th. And so that's 2 days before this full moon. And so it's a shift forward. It's a shift from reviewing and revising things from the past, and it's kind of like, now it's time to move forward. And Aries as a sign is about forward movement. It's about starting new things and pioneering new things and being really creative. And so, like, these two things working together, it's like there's a big shift pushing us forward. I wrote a blog, and I'll put the link to it, but I was describing it as like, like if you're walking and your foot kind of like, you walk on gum or something and your foot's like stuck on the ground, and you're pulling, right, and it's stuck, and then all of a sudden it lets go, and you kind of like move forward, kind of thing. It's like that. That's what the energy is. It's like all of a sudden we have this like it's like we've been held back, but where we can move, like, how you try to run in water, and it's like you can't go as fast as you can, but all of a sudden you're free of it, but you're pushing so hard to get away from it, and it lets go, or like the tug of war, like it let go. And so we all like have this chance to just like move forward. So it's kind of exciting. And I think that because it's a full moon, and it's also a time to release things as much as it is to get full of something, this is a good time to a really good month. It's a full moon that's unique because of the Mercury going direct. It was all about looking to the past. So we probably all already have dug up some things from the past, or have seen some things that are outworn, are no longer needed, no longer necessary.
What if there are people who are fearful or resistant to change, in terms of, there's this, it sounds really positive, this kind of push forward, and that's going to be really really great for, you know, a lot of people, especially coming out of, you know, these in general, you know, I think a lot of people over the last, you know, 2 years really have felt quite kind of held back and, you know, frustrated, and, you know, with all that's been going on. How can people who fear fear kind of like moving forward because it means change and it's overwhelming or whatever, how will they manage this energy best?
Yeah, I think the first thing is wanting change. I think that if there's a resistance to it, that you kind of have to start with there. You have to start with, you know, why am I resistant? And sometimes it's as simple as doing the full moon ritual. And this is a fire full moon, so it would be the fire releasing ritual. I have a blog and I'll put the link to it, but it has 4 different types of releasing rituals for the full moon for each element. So the fire one is, you know, you write down what it is that you want to release on a piece of paper, and then you burn it safely, of course. So if you know what's holding you back, if you know why you're timid or scared, or you know what you're fearful of, then I would start with just a ritual, just kind of something that symbolically states that you want to release that. And then it's baby steps. You know, oftentimes it's a goal that seems so unreachable. It's just so far away. I just don't even want to start. It's breaking that down into small size baby steps. You know, you can have your big long-term goal, and you just try to break it down and then get it down to the next week, the next month, and maybe the next, you know, 3 to 6 months. Then you have something where you can actually write a to-do list, because you're not going to write a to-do list for something that you want to achieve in 20 years, but you kind of want to know where you're going in 10, 20 years, right? That's a long-term vision.
Yeah.
Which isn't really what Aries is about. Aries is just about impulsively going out and doing what you want to do. But that is not, the full moon doesn't live in a vacuum. You know, there's always multiple factors happening at the same time. And I think that's why this one, having the Mercury direct at the same time, is super cool and super interesting, because we did just dig up all that stuff. And we might really want to just, you know, raring to go, want to move forward, but I don't know where to stop. I mean, I don't know where to start, don't know where to start, or, you know I want change, but I don't know, or maybe I don't want change. Sorry, that's what I was getting at. It's like some people want change and don't know where to start, and that's where you do the baby. Some people are resistant to change and they want it, and they, you know, so it's like you're opening to it. And then what you would release is, you know, help me identify and release what those obstacles are. I mean, maybe it's where you start is just trying to figure out what are those obstacles. And then you have the people who are just not willing to change, and you can't you know, I wouldn't expect that they're going to be doing a whole lot about that, but things from the outside may come in forcing change. And a lot of times that's what it looks like when you're resistant to change. It's forced upon you. And so that if that's if you're watching this video and you are experiencing that, you're experiencing change that's forced on you, and you're really trying to hold on, you might want to just reconsider that. You know, try to open yourself to what that change is, or understanding why that change is coming. You know, that change might not be where you want to go, but it's telling you, then think about it and start taking ownership of where you want to go. Because if you don't do that, then other things will. You know, I think there's plenty of sayings out there, and none of them are coming to mind, but, you know, they go something like, you know, live your life or someone else will live it for you, or, you know, make your own decisions or someone else will make your decisions for you. So this could certainly present that kind of situation for people. And because people who are resistant to change aren't usually saying, oh, I'm resistant to change, I'm not going to do that. You know, they're resistant, it's obvious, but they're very righteous in their resistance. They're very sure that that's not what's right for them. They're not going to do it. They're sticking their heels in the ground. And if that is not working, and that, you know, their heels get broken and they're still getting pushed and they're still getting forced to change, it's kind of like you have to find your way. It can be on your terms or it can be on someone else's terms.
And that's a kind of different type of assertiveness, isn't it? I think that could be seen as assertiveness because they're kind of saying no, right? They're saying no to a lot of things. And but what we were what's what I'm thinking about now is the essential oil that I was thinking about for this theme, and how it can help those other people, because we're all different, aren't we? But some people really struggle with saying no, so they have the opposite problem, that are kind of digging their heels in all the time and stuff. Some people just are much more selfless, like you were saying, they're much more to that extreme and find it really difficult to say no and to have boundaries and to stand up for themselves. And they probably get washed along too much, right, without kind of making decisions for themselves. And I think this essential oil clove can really help those people who struggle with making decisions, or having the courage to say no and to kind of enforce the direction that they would like to go in whatever that may be in life. So I would recommend using clove essential oil. It's a very hot oil, so you have to be careful with it when you apply it to the skin. You must always use a carrier oil. But you can also inhale it from your hands. You can add a few drops to a cold water diffuser. All really nice ways to support you in this period of the full moon, with everything that you're saying, Laurie. Perhaps whilst doing the fire ritual, for example. It's a really nice one to integrate.
Yeah, I bet that would smell really good if you. I'm not sure how, I've never done it before, but I just was imagining the cloves, like the ones you cook with. If you
put them
put in the fire, could smell good.
Yeah,
you might have to try that. What about cooking with cloves?
Yeah. I mean, you can even, with these doTERRA oils, the ones that I always recommend, you can actually use the clove oil in your cooking. I mean, obviously you can use the normal cloves, and they're I love those too, especially now we're coming more into kind of winter months and everything. It's such a nice smell. And the clove oil itself, because it's safe for internal use, you can add I would not even add a drop, because I would add even less than a drop, like a toothpick stuck into the top of the bottle and swirled around, in your cooking, for example, is a really nice way. And clove, by the way, is also really, really high in antioxidants. So it's actually a really good one to take internally too, but always in a little veggie capsule, because it's quite a hot oil, like oregano. It's it can just burn your throat a little bit stuff. So you should always take it in a capsule if you're going to do it internally. And by the way, if you also have toothache, you can add it directly. You can add a drop, just put it on your finger and rub it into the gum. It really, really helps with the pain and inflammation of toothache, like they used to do in the olden days with actual cloves.
Wow, that's so good to know. Wow, great tip. I'm really glad to do that. It makes me think of this tea that I made last year. I'm gonna have to find the recipe and post it. It's cloves and turmeric and cinnamon and something else with like an almond oil, or not almond oil, but almond milk. It's
so maybe coconut oil or something. Or, lovely.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Should I then? I think I'll go ahead and talk about some things to do for the full moon.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap up with a few things that people can do during the. Yeah, would it be like it's the next few days? Like it's the next few days, like as we're speaking now. When the full moon is happening, and then also for a week or so afterwards, right? It would be fine to do these.
Yeah. So I would do. If you do a releasing ritual, I would do it Wednesday or Thursday night. And then there's many things. I have a really long list of things to do for this one. And so we have this full moon phase for 2 weeks until the next new moon. So I'll give you some ideas for Wednesday or Thursday evening if you want to do a ritual, or just if you want to do something to honor the full moon. And then I'll have some ideas that you can do over the 2-week phase, because sometimes you need a little more time to plan it. So for Wednesday or Thursday, I would definitely write down anything that is blocking you from having that assertive voice, that empowering and assertive voice. Write it down, really kind of focus on it, and then do your ritual by burning it in the fire. That is symbolic of releasing it. And specifically, I would write down old and outworn ways, things that just are no longer serving you, things that worked in the past, but they are not working so well right now.
Yeah.
And then Aries is a very physical sign. It's one of the Mars signs. So do something physical. If you're a runner, go for a run. If you're a walker, go for a walk. If you do martial arts, go do your practice. It's also a sign of the Mars, the planet that's associated with it, is a sign that is associated with doing things with your hands or metals. So you can make things, especially if you do like jewelry making or anything that uses metal. It's really great to do. Then journaling is always something I recommend on a moon phase. And yeah, those are just some things for Wednesday, Thursday. Now I'm going to tell you some things for the next 2 weeks. Okay. Empower others. So I know I've already talked about that, but I'm going to have that on the list in the blog as well, because I think that is the door to having successful assertiveness, is that how we use our language. If we just go out and assert by being bossy, I don't know that we're going to have as good of results as we would if we empower. So, you use that in asserting your voice. So what I'm saying is, what you're doing is you're being assertive for what you want, and you're considering others, and you're trying to get everything kind of moving in the right direction, and not just super selfish. Let's see, get a head massage or a cranial facial treatment. Aries, the sign is it rules the head. So anything that is in relation to the head, even even a makeover could be fun. So use aromatherapy more often. So I know that we talk about that, essential oils as part of our series. So we always say to use essential oils. I'm saying to use them more often because the nose is in the head, and this is an Aries part of the body that is ruled. Aries rules that part of the body, and so just that sense all of our senses are located here. But I'd say use the essential oils because they very much impact the body. Let's see, make a fire pit or cook out on the grill. Anything to do with fire would be very much indicated over the next few weeks. Aries loves challenges. If there's something you've been wanting to do that's really challenging and you haven't had the motivation to start it, during this full moon phase is the perfect time to start it. So you may not be able to do that Wednesday or Thursday, but you have that whole 2-week phase to start something. Aries is also about courage. And so just kind of going with what I just said, if what you have to do something that requires courage and bravery, this would be a nice time to start that. Any kind of brainstorming that you need to do, this is a creative time. Aries is a very creative sign. And then just thinking more about working with the hands and using energy. Sew, cook, crochet, play ping pong, pool. There's anything that's really fun and you're using your hands. Aries is adventurous, so you could go hiking, backpacking, move, dance, kickbox, gymnastics, fire throwing. I mean, who does that? But some people do that. I've seen it. And then something that's a lot more mellow and easy is light a candle. Light a candle.
I can do that.
And depending on which hemisphere you're in, you could kind of like make your first fire of the season or your last fire, because some of us are going into the winter and some of us are going into the summer. So you could kind of do like a symbolic fire especially if it's getting warmer and you probably aren't going to have them anymore, or it's getting colder and you haven't started one yet. Do it under the space. And so that's it. I think I have a few more things. It's a long list, but what I'll do is I'll put everything on the blog and I'll post it online, and I'll put the link underneath the video.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So thanks, Laurie. Let us just go over when we'll be back for the next new moon.
Yeah, so the next phase is the new moon, and that will be on Thursday, November the 4th. So we'll, as usual, have our video up a day or two before. So we'll see you in the beginning of November.
Yeah. Okay. Happy Halloween then to people in between, right?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that for Halloween costumes, but that's, that could be really fun. Having that Aries full moon energy kind of like driving your Halloween costume. You could be really assertive in your Halloween costume. Yeah.
Thanks, Laurie.
All right. Thank you. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.